tell me how you fought for this case?
The case is on behalf of the mainly civilian victims of the invasions before the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights of the OAS. It was the only place that we could take a case without the assistance of a government and in the conditions of military occupation that we had at that moment. I came back to Panama with a delegation of attorneys from different places of the U.S., and we decided that the case had to be an impact collective case for all the people that we could not reach. So the case was presented in 1990. In 1993, it was submitted, even though U.S. had a lot of objections to it. And in 2018, we got the final result after 28 years of litigation, which says that the United States is responsible for the violations of human rights of the victims of the invasions who have suffered a certain type of damages, and those who were not named in the case were also beneficiaries of the decision, because the United States has extraterritorial control of the entire jurisdiction of Panama, and therefore is responsible for every violation that happened there. The United States fears the most is the information that is in the report, the final report, that says the type of damages that they cause, that they're responsible for damage even in armed conflict situations, and in that extraterritorial violations of human rights also count as violations of human rights. So it's one of the longest cases of the Commission on Human Rights, one of the most largest in terms of numbers, largest in terms of the years that was there, 28 years of litigation, and continuing on with the implementation. And we are looking for the U.S. to pay the damages of the invasion and all these years of 35 years of negligence in the responsibility to compensate the victims.
With the U.S. having invaded Panama as well as many other countries, what do you think of its image as a self-claimed defender of human rights?
They have a great propaganda machine, and they have consistent and permanent psychological operations. They enter the countries like Panama, and they know the population well. They know the political actors and the leadership and the communities, and they manage that in the ways that makes it impossible or very difficult for people who have a different opinion to be able to work within these systems.
What does the bitter memory of the U.S. invasion of Panama in 1989 affect people today?
It was very interesting because the United States did several things very immediately after the military action. They maintained a campaign that was a liberation, not an invasion, and people who were in the refugee centers and the population in general were forced to say that it was a liberation. Every year we sustained marches and activities during the anniversary of the invasion, until 3 years ago that we managed to get that the National Assembly would name the 20th of December a day of mourning, national mourning, as a recognition that an invasion happened, because the governments of Panama were not even saying it was an invasion. We still have a clear memory of the invasion, and people are still asking for recognition that something very the largest and most difficult military action in Panama that happened was this invasion. It was brutal, and it attacked mainly women, children, and older people. And we don't let neither the U.S. nor the Panamanian government forget that. And I'm not talking just about myself, but other organizations and the social movements continue to have it. In spite of whatever differences we have, we demand that there will be respect for that day.
What do you think of Trump's recent remarks of taking back the Panama Canal? And what is your understanding of sovereignty?
Panama uses the dollar, and it's a strategic point for Latin America and for the United States, which they want to control from here so that they can reach on to South America. And there's no such thing as the resale of the canal to the United States, as some congressman is stating. What we are seeing is the intimidation of saying, oh, we can invade you again. Well, countries have moved, the mentality of the people have moved since 1989. So the intimidation is not working as well. And even though there's concern about it, so there's a little bit more pride, I think, on the part of the people of Panama that we are not going to allow this to happen. I have a very clear sense of what sovereignty means and how much you have to fight for it because of my formation. We know that people need to develop their own resources and maintain control of their powers as a nation. If not, you will not be a nation. So you cannot say that you have a little bit of sovereignty, but you don't have enough. It's a continuing, a permanent struggle to obtain it and to maintain it. And the struggles of Panama have been done mainly by the working class people. We know that a lot of people are either paid or convinced that the best way to run your country and your life is to concede everything to the United States, because if you're good and quiet, they will be good to you, and that's not true. But when you talk about having an invasion, the collective memory is that we don't want that for anybody.
As Panama comes to the media spotlight, some U.S. politicians and media have begun to hype China's influence on the Panama Canal. Does such hype affect how Panamanians view Chinese investment there?
What they're saying is that the canal is in the hands of the Chinese because of the economic inversions that the investment that the Chinese have in the area. They are trying to sell that view that that's a danger to the canal and to the people of Panama. But the only ones who have actually got military in the canal zone area and the only ones who have achieved the closing of the canal is the United States. The Chinese are not seen as a threat to the Panamanians. We have lived with them for too long, but still the argument between Panamanians itself is if we have sovereignty, we can make decisions about that and we can get rid of whatever we want. But when it comes to the canal, that's something that is so much in the fiber of the Panamanian people that anything that you say negative about that, we're willing to defend it. So we are growing. We are growing into making decisions and learning how to collectively decide what our destiny will be.